Mary was a 17-year-old girl living in the quiet town of Blackwood. Known for her friendly and loving nature, her heartwarming smile could brighten up anyone's day. She attended Blackwood High School, a place where her life took a dramatic turn. One ordinary day, her English teacher, Miss Mason, walked into the classroom, holding a mysterious secret. She announced the arrival of a new student, James. He was an older student, nearly 19 years of age. Miss Mason explained that James had returned to continue his studies after a 2-year hiatus due to some undisclosed reasons. Miss Mason's decision to seat James next to Mary set off a chain of events that would change both of their lives forever. James was a mysterious figure, quiet and introverted, but Mary saw the pain in his eyes and decided to befriend him. During lunch break, as Mary and James sat together in the classroom, a group of rough boys decided to target James, taunting him for being older than the rest and making cruel jokes. Mary, who happened to be the class monitor, couldn't stand by and watch. She stepped in and firmly told the boys to stop mocking James, making it clear she wouldn't tolerate their bullying. As the boys reluctantly left, Mary turned to James, offering a comforting smile. She introduced herself and extended her hand for a handshake, effectively breaking the ice. They began talking, and James gradually opened up to Mary. He revealed that he had to leave his studies due to a family tragedy, the loss of his father in a car accident. Mary felt deep sympathy for James, and their friendship blossomed. About a week after their initial meeting, Mary and James decided to go on a date. James excitedly asked Mary if she would join him for a ride on his newly purchased bike. She agreed with enthusiasm, but there was one catch. James wanted to meet at 10:30 at night. Mary was initially hesitant because her parents would never approve, but James used his charm and persuasion to convince her. The evening of their date arrived, and Mary was excited but also a little anxious. She had to sneak out of her basement window to meet James secretly. They set off to the Blackwood ice cream parlor, enjoying their time together. Afterward, James suggested they go to a nearby bridge. At first, Mary was reluctant, but the thrill of adventure was too tempting, and she agreed. Crossing the bridge, they found themselves on a winding forest road. Mary grew increasingly uncomfortable as the surroundings became unfamiliar. Finally, after about 20 minutes, Mary had had enough and told James they needed to turn back, but James seemed strangely determined to go further. It was at this point that Mary questioned, "What's this place? Let's not go any farther." But James was strangely insistent and ignored her pleas. Their journey took a dark turn as the road led them away from the safety of Blackwood City, and Mary's concern grew more intense. She begged James to stop and take her home, fearing for her safety, but he had other plans. James made a cryptic call, leaving Mary bewildered and frightened. A hooded figure arrived at the scene, and it became clear that this encounter was far from ordinary. James revealed his intent to transfer a curse to Mary, and they initiated a chilling ritual. With the strange ritual circle, candles, and the drawing of blood, the situation had taken a horrifying turn. As the ritual progressed, Mary became increasingly panicked, trying to escape, but her attempts were futile as the hooded figure held her tightly. When the needle pierced her finger, Mary screamed in agony. The hooded figure muttered ominously about a curse and finally told James, "This is your last time. James, you're free from this now." Mary's vision blurred, and the world went dark as she fell unconscious. When Mary opened her eyes, she found herself back in her room, safe and sound. Her mind was in a state of shock as she tried to process the events that had just occurred. She reached for her phone but found that there was no contact named James. Confused and disoriented, Mary discovered a crumpled piece of paper in her pocket. Unfolding the note, Mary's eyes widened as she read the chilling message. It was a message from James, confessing that he had been cursed for the past 8 years, and he had to pass it on to someone else to free himself. He had chosen Mary because she was a good soul. The note instructed Mary to chant a specific line every day at midnight without fail to prevent a demon from appearing in her dreams. Mary read the instructions in disbelief and fear. She had to chant the specified words without fail every day at midnight, or else the demon would appear in her dreams. The consequences were dire. If she missed the chant twice, the demon would not only kill someone she loved but would also come after her, ending her life in a gruesome manner. Terrified and overwhelmed by the weight of this newfound burden, Mary began the daily ritual as instructed. She performed the chant and gave 1 drop of her own blood each day. The moment the blood hit the floor, it would mysteriously disappear as though absorbed by an unseen force. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Mary faithfully adhered to the ritual, her dedication unwavering. However, the toll it took on her was unmistakable. Her health began to deteriorate, and she was constantly living in fear. On one unfortunate night, Mary missed her ritual. She had taken some medication and accidentally fallen asleep before midnight. In her dreams, a monstrous, black entity with massive horns and a grotesque, extended tongue appeared. It was the demon that James had warned her about. The demon's presence was suffocating, and it spoke in a guttural, menacing voice. It scolded Mary for missing the ritual and ominously warned her that she had only two chances left. Mary woke up in a cold sweat, her heart pounding with fear. From that night on, Mary became even more determined to complete the ritual without fail. She would stay awake at night, keeping a vigilant eye on the clock to ensure she performed the chant precisely at midnight. The burden was heavy, and her life had become a never-ending cycle of fear and anxiety. Years passed, and Mary completed her high school education. She managed to enroll in college, all the while keeping the sinister curse a secret. It had been 2 long years of performing the nightly ritual, and she was becoming increasingly desperate to find a way to break free from the curse. One day, as Mary was returning home from college, she spotted a small, forgotten library on the outskirts of town. Inside the library, an old lady sat alone, surrounded by dusty shelves of books. Something about the atmosphere drew Mary in, and she decided to approach the old lady. Before Mary could say a word, the old lady fixed her with a knowing gaze and said, "What you're seeking is within these walls." Mary's eyes widened with surprise. She hadn't uttered a single word, and the old lady seemed to read her mind. The mysterious old lady directed Mary to a specific section in the library. Mary was stunned to find a book titled Curses and Rituals. She opened the book, her heart racing, and began reading the section on rituals. The pages were filled with obscure incant